everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video was going to be a follow-up to my previous video, and this one is going to be 10 book series that I have started but I don't really plan on finishing. This may be a little bit controversial for some people out there, but for whatever reason, when I was reading the first books in the series, or the first couple of books in the series, I just didn't click with it, and I'm not saying that I'm never going to finish them. I just don't really have any desire at the moment to pick up the next book and complete reading the series. So the very first book on this list, I've talked about it before, is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I read the first book. Honestly, I didn't really get what the hype was. Yes, it's probably a more accurate portrayal of what the Fae would be like if they existed, because they're dicks, but I can't get behind, there's not a single character that I like in the entire thing. And I get that that's probably supposed to be how you feel, because, like, it's called The Cruel Prince, but it's not for me. I need to like the people that I'm reading about, and I just could not get behind it. Probably should talk about what The Cruel Prince is about. Couldn't even tell you what the characters' names are. There's Carden, he's the prince that's cruel. But you follow a human girl and her sister, who essentially are kidnapped by a Fae prince, he's important in some way, I don't know. They're kidnapped by him and taken to the land of the Fae, where they are the only two humans to be living in the land of the Fae. And because of this, Jude is the girl's name. Because of this, Jude realizes that she has an ability to lie where they do not, and she uses this to her advantage, I guess, somehow. I don't really know. Yeah, that's it, really. I didn't like it, and we're gonna move on. The second series on my list is the Camelot Rising series by Kiersten White. I read the first book. I think I got it in an Owl Crate last year. The Guinevere Deception. It's only 300 pages and I had to force myself through it. But in the Guinevere Deception, you follow Guinevere, who you very quickly learn is not exactly what she seems, and she is tasked with protecting King Arthur because she can do some kind of magic, and so she's supposed to use it to protect him because somebody's trying to kill him because he's the king, I guess. That's all I remember of the plot, in all honesty. It wasn't bad. There's nothing that I hated about it. It was just not memorable to me. It was not really super intriguing for me when I was actually reading it, so I just don't think that it's something that I'm going to keep reading. Hi, baby! I know that the second book, I think, is coming out later on this year. We're already late into this year, so it's probably coming out sometime soon. I won't be picking it up. I just have no interest in seeing where the storyline goes. Guinevere's character was not interesting at all to me. Her magic was not really interesting at all to me. So, yeah. The third series on my list is The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I just think that I have learned Maggie Stiefvater is not for me. And obviously, lots of people love her writing, lots of people love her books. It's just, I just don't think that her writing style clicks with me. I read The Raven Boys, and I gave it like 3 stars, maybe? The characters in The Raven Boys just didn't feel like real people to me, which might sound stupid, but I don't know, when I was reading it, it felt a little bit like she was trying too hard to make Blue seem not like other girls, while also trying to make Gansey seem edgier than regular boys. And not even like edgier in a dangerous way, just like different from other boys. Like, I don't know, it just felt super forced to their characters. The storyline wasn't really interesting to me. I don't know if that gets better in the rest of the series, and I honestly may pick them up to see if that changes, because I know there's a lot of people that love those characters so much. The first book just didn't click with me. I read The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. I also didn't like it. So I at this point I have to wonder if it's like, if I don't mesh with her writing style, and that's just where we're at. I can't even give you a solid synopsis of what happens in The Raven Boys. The next group of books, I guess I'll call them, that I don't really have any interest in carrying on with, carrying on, is Carry On and Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell, and this includes, I don't know if she ever plans to do anything more with it, but this includes Fangirl. I actually read Carry On before I read Fangirl, so I didn't even know that it was a spin-off of what goes on in Fangirl. I did enjoy Carry On. I did not enjoy Wayward Son. It felt angsty for the point of angst, like there was no reason for it other than drama, and I don't like that in books. I don't like the cliffhanger. The relationship cliffhanger she left it off on. And after I read it and I didn't like it, and then I read Fangirl and I had to force myself through it, I just don't really care anymore. Those are the only books of Rainbow Rowell's that I've ever read, and I now have learned that she's kind of questionable as a human being as well, and that is just not something that I feel like supporting. So we're just not gonna read any more of it. I don't care about the storyline after the way that she took it, so I'm okay with cutting it off there. The next series on my list is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I read Caraval. I didn't care for Caraval. I gave it like 3 stars, and I think that maybe the circus thing is not for me. You'll notice that I just stopped giving synopses of these books, and it's either because I didn't care about them or I don't remember what happened, honestly. And these are pretty popular series, so like they're pretty easy to look up. This is one of the ones that all I know is that it's kind of like a circusy game type theme thing. I don't remember the characters' names. I don't remember what happened in the end. Honestly, I'm pretty sure there was some kind of like plot twisty event happening at the end. Couldn't tell you what it was. Couldn't tell you what happened. No idea, because at the end of that book, I just pushed myself through it to finish it because I was at the end already and I figured I might as well. I've heard the second book is a little bit better. I don't know if that's true. Don't know if I plan on ever finding out if that's true. So it is what it is. The next series on my list is To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. I adored this movie when it came out on Netflix. I binge watched it probably 4 or 5 times in a week. I thought it was the cutest thing that Netflix had released in a long time. I loved it. Obviously, I wanted to read the source material. I DNF'd that book, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, it's childish. Obviously, it's a YA contemporary. I just think that YA contemporary is something that I have for sure aged out of, and I can say that definitively now in terms of reading. I don't think I'll ever actually grow out of it movie-wise. It's just sometimes they're just so cute and fluffy that you can't help but love them, but in books, it just reads so juvenile. I just can't get behind it. I tried to finish that first book and I just did not care enough. So I think that if I ever just want that story, I'm just gonna go watch the movie because the movie was so good. The next series on my list is the 3 Dark Crowns series by Kendara Blake. This one is really more of a maybe for me. Sorry if you can hear jingling in the background. I have no idea what my dogs are doing, but they're running all over the place. The 3 Dark Crowns series, I read 3 Dark Crowns last year, and I saw that plot coming from a mile away. Like, it wasn't surprising to me. I don't know if it gets better later on, and I'm kind of intrigued because I've heard a lot of people say that it does get better later on. So, like, this is not a hard, I will never continue with this series. I hated the first book so much, but I literally could not bring myself to care towards the middle end of that book. Some of the characters really, really annoyed me, and that just made me dislike what I was reading the entire time anyway. I don't know if that improves later on. If you liked this, if you like any of these, and you like them for reasons that change later on, or whatever you have read contradicts what I'm saying, absolutely let me know in the comments, because I'm always down to have my mind changed. So maybe that'll convince me to read the rest of this, but for now, I think that I'll stick with reading her Anna Dressed in Blood series and leave 3 Dark Crowns. The next series on my list is it called the Game of Thrones series, or is it called the Song of Ice and Fire series? I really don't know. Whatever. George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones series. I read book 1. It was okay. I DNF'd book 2. I can read a lot of pretty epic fantasies. I've been reading epic fantasies since I was really young. I don't usually have a hard time following it. I just don't feel like it should be necessary for me to need a reference chart of characters who's who in this world in my lap as I'm going through a book. Not to say that if you like that, that's your thing, absolutely go for it. But for me, I don't want to have to think and try and remember about who's related to who and who's talking about who. I just want to be able to read and enjoy the storyline, and I just couldn't do that. It made me feel George R. R. Martin's writing style, I don't think it's really like Tolkien's in any way, but I do think that Martin gets over descriptive with relationships the way that Tolkien gets over descriptive with places. And it's not for me. I don't like to have to think that much while I'm enjoying whatever is happening in the plot, or not enjoying in the case of Game of Thrones. I have seen the entire TV show, and I liked it, except for, the season that shall not be named. But as far as the books, I think I'll just continue once again to enjoy the TV format as my preferred media. The next series on my list is the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I watched, what is it called? The Gunslinger? Whatever the first book is called that they made into a movie with Idris Elba. I liked the movie well enough. It's not my favorite movie in any way, but I liked it. The movie was fine enough. It interested me enough that I wanted to read the books, so I got on Thrift Books and I bought a bunch of the beginning books in the series. The Gunslinger, it's pretty short, and it took me forever, and that's how disinterested in it I was. So I don't really foresee myself moving on with the rest of the series. The only reason I haven't really unhauled them is because my husband does seem interested in the series, so we're going to keep them until he's had his chance. If he also doesn't like them, they're probably out. The last series on this list is Earthsea by Ursula Le Guin. I got this movie when I was little. I don't remember where I got it, but I remember I liked the movie as like a 9 or 10-year-old enough that I watched it on repeat for a while. And my friend knew that I liked the movie, so she found out that it was a book series, and for my birthday, she got me the first book in the Earthsea series, and I hated it. I didn't finish it. I kept trying to start it, and I could not, and I don't even know what it's about anymore. I think that maybe if I had read it when it came out, it would have been a little bit more earth-shattering for me. It does a lot of stuff that at its time was not really prevalent in a lot of fantasy. But having tried to read it, and now having seen Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction, and Becca from Becca in the Books, and a couple of other channels, I believe, doing the Le Guin Along, or whatever they were calling it, yeah, they couldn't get through very much of it either. So I feel pretty satisfied in just moving on with my life. So that is it for the book series that I don't really plan on continuing. Like I said, if you have any differing opinions, absolutely let me know down below in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys think. I would love to have you change my mind, because if one of these could, for some reason, become like some of my new favorite books, I would love to know what I'm missing out on. But other than that, that's all I have for you today, guys, so I will see you in the next one. Bye!